really means in a scientific context. Popular culture depicts zombies as reanimated corpses that mindlessly wander, driven solely by an insatiable hunger for human flesh. Scientifically, however, a true zombie would be characterized by severe neurological impairment, loss of higher brain functions such as reasoning and memory, combined with uncontrollable aggression and the ability to transmit the condition through some form of contagion, typically a bite or fluid exchange. Interestingly, nature offers several examples of organisms that exhibit zombie-like behavior, although on a much smaller scale and not in humans. For instance, the fungus Ophiocordyceps infects ants and manipulates their behavior to spread its spores, effectively turning them into zombie ants. Similarly, the parasite Toxoplasma gondii alters the behavior of rodents, making them less fearful of predators to increase the parasite's chances of completing its life cycle. These examples highlight that behavioral manipulation by pathogens is not purely fictional, but a natural phenomenon, though humans are far more complex and resilient. Real viruses and diseases that influence behavior offer further insight into how a zombie-like outbreak could theoretically manifest. Rabies, for example, is a viral infection that causes inflammation of the brain, leading to aggression, confusion, and an increased likelihood of biting, which facilitates transmission. Rabies is almost universally fatal once symptoms appear and is transmitted through bites, somewhat mirroring the mode of transmission in zombie fiction. However, rabies has a relatively long incubation period and is rare in human populations in developed countries due to vaccination and animal control. Other neurological diseases can affect cognition and behavior, but these typically don't cause contagious aggression or rapid spread. Furthermore, many pathogens balance lethality with transmission ability. If a disease kills too quickly, it limits its spread, and if it spreads too slowly, it gives authorities time to contain it. Experts in epidemiology emphasize the complex factors that influence disease spread, including transmission methods, population density, and public health responses. While a rapidly spreading zombie virus is a staple of horror fiction, real outbreaks of infectious diseases tend to have predictable patterns governed by biology and human behavior. Epidemiologists point out that any highly contagious disease with severe neurological symptoms would trigger swift detection and containment efforts thanks to modern surveillance systems, global communication, and healthcare infrastructure. Virologists note that while viruses can mutate, the chances of a pathogen evolving the precise characteristics needed to create a zombie apocalypse repeat. Aggressive, irreversible neurological impairment combined with easy transmission are astronomically low. Moreover, zoonotic spillover events, where diseases jump from animals to humans, are monitored closely to prevent pandemics, reducing the risk of surprise outbreaks. From a disaster preparedness perspective, specialists use zombie outbreak scenarios as a creative way to teach the public about emergency readiness and response. While the notion of the undead may be fictional, the lessons drawn from these scenarios, such as the importance of stockpiling supplies, having evacuation plans, and maintaining communication are very real and applicable to natural disasters, pandemics, and civil emergencies. Preparedness experts highlight that public awareness and community resilience are key components in mitigating any large-scale crisis, whether biological or environmental. The persistence of zombie stories in culture reflects deep-seated fears about losing control, societal collapse, and survival, which resonate across generations and help drive interest in personal and governmental preparedness. Scientific barriers further reduce the likelihood of a zombie outbreak. Pathogens with extremely short incubation periods, high lethality, and fast transmission rates tend to burn out quickly, as they leave too few hosts alive to sustain the outbreak. Diseases with slower progression allow for quarantine and treatment before widespread contagion occurs. Modern medicine, vaccines, and rapid diagnostic tools provide additional layers of defense, enabling containment before a disease spirals out of control. Furthermore, genetic and physiological differences in humans make a uniform response to a hypothetical zombie virus unlikely, as individual immune systems and environmental factors would influence disease outcomes. Even in worst-case pandemic scenarios like influenza or Ebola outbreaks, Total societal collapse of the kind depicted in zombie fiction is highly improbable. Despite these scientific realities, the cultural fascination with zombies continues to shape public discourse on emergency management and risk perception. Zombie-themed drills, preparedness campaigns, and simulations have been used by organizations like the CDC to engage communities and promote readiness. This playful approach helps demystify complex topics like contagion and crisis response, making them accessible and memorable. It also encourages people to think proactively about personal safety, resource management, and community cooperation. Ultimately, while the probability of a literal zombie outbreak remains negligible, the underlying principles rapid response, adaptability, and resilience are critical to surviving any disaster. In summary, while there are fascinating natural parallels in some viruses with concerning behavioral effects, the scientific consensus among experts is clear. A full-scale zombie outbreak as popularized in fiction is virtually impossible given current biological, medical, and societal realities. However, studying this concept allows us to better understand infectious diseases, improve public health preparedness, and encourage individuals to be ready for emergencies of all kinds. The zombie myth serves as both a metaphor and a practical tool in promoting awareness and resilience in the face of real-world threats. In conclusion, while the idea of a zombie outbreak makes for thrilling stories and movies, experts agree that such an event is extraordinarily unlikely to happen in reality. The biology simply doesn't support the existence of a virus or pathogen that could turn people into mindless, aggressive, contagious zombies as portrayed in fiction. However, the concept remains valuable not as a genuine threat, but as a creative lens through which we can explore disease transmission, emergency preparedness, and societal resilience. Understanding how real viruses spread and how public health systems respond helps us stay better prepared for all kinds of crises, whether pandemics, natural disasters, or unexpected emergencies. So, while you probably don't need to worry about the undead walking the streets anytime soon, the lessons drawn from zombie scenarios are very real and could help save lives when real threats arise. What do you think? Could a zombie outbreak ever happen? Or is it just pure fiction? Let us know in the comments below.